Welcome to Forbidden Planet TV. I'm Andrew Sumner. This is Rob Williams, returning to Forbidden Planet TV. How are you, brother?
I'm good, Andrew. Yeah, thanks for having me, mate.
Oh, it's always great to see you. You were on recently talking about the epic re-release of your seminal work, Class War, your early career superhero work, Class War, which I totally recommend to anybody who's tuning in to watch this conversation, which is about your involvement in the next incarnation of Battle Action from Rebellion.
Yeah, that's
So,
right. It's kind of like I was just thinking when you was introducing that. I think Class War was 20 years ago, and Class War is just filled with like, basically. One of my interests is aircraft, and there's a loads of bits in Class War where planes are sort of crowbarred in, and I've just realised that's exactly true in these stories in Battle Action. So nothing much changes in 20 years. I think Ben Oliver, an artist friend of mine, said once, he said, if I was writing a kitchen sink drama, you'd still have a bloody plane flying past the window. So yeah, I've just realised there is I'm a one-trick pony.
don't be too hard on yourself, brother, because as you and I both know, that is not true. And so Battle Action was brought back extremely nicely by Garth Ennis and co last year in a beautiful kind of hardbound English annual style edition, which I loved. As you know, I'm a big fan of the old war books, whether the British war books or the old DC and Marvel, even Sergeant Fury. But I was a big fan of the DC war stuff. But the British Battle Action is something I read. Battle Picture Weekly, staple of my comics diet when I was younger, and I've always loved all those characters. I loved what Garth and his team of artists did in that one shot. But now this is kind of moving on from that. It's a whole flotilla of top jaw talent like yourself on a slightly sort of ongoing version of Battle Action, right?
Yeah, we've got I think it's 5 issues this time, and every issue has got a lead story by Garth with a fantastic sort of artist. Whether it's he's got Keith Burns with him on Johnny Red, he's got John Higgins with him on Dredger. I'm trying to think who else. Chris Burnham's drawing one of the strips, who's terrific with Garth. And then in every issue, then there's I think it's a 12-page Garth story, and then there's a 12-page story written by another team. I'm doing Major Eazy in issue 3 with Henry Flint, who is incredible. And then in issue 4, I'm doing Death Squad with PJ Holden. PJ's a great mate, and again draws.
And a great artist as well. PJ,
he's a terrific
fantastic artist. Yeah.
And with Death Squad, he's really, because if you ever read Death Squad in the original Battle, it was Alan Hebden and Eric Bradbury. Eric Bradbury's art had this amazing kind of gritty, earthy. It was a real kind of like, even though it's a kid's comic, it felt like it was filled with like a murderer's row, basically. You really believed they were a death squad. And then when you do a bit of research into Eric Bradbury, with his heavy black inks, you find out that he was a tail gunner on Lancasters in World War II. And like I think Garth was saying, but it kind of makes sense when you look at his style, because you can almost imagine him in the tail gunner looking out into the darkness every night with his eyes kind of like perking, looking for when death could literally come. So yeah, that was no pressure, just going to PJ, like draw a bit like Eric Bradbury, your own thing, but just kind of like bring that kind of sensibility to it. And then Henry Flint, for me, is one of the premier talents we've got in comics in about the last 20 years, as from an art point of view. Totally unappreciated in the States, because 99% of his work has been for 2000 AD. But Henry's just a mad genius. So I think he's almost like the love child of Carlos Esquerra and Kevin O'Neill, really.
I think that analogy is really well drawn. Actually, mate. Completely agree about both of these artists. These are a particularly wild pair of battle strips that you've got involved with. And in the case of Major Eazy, supremely audacious, and I love it, and almost borderline nonsensical in some respects for reasons we'll get into. So where do your strips find Major Eazy and find Death Squad?
Well, Major Eazy is like, if you read back the original Alan Hebden stories he did with Carlos Esquerra, basically they did some stories in North Africa in World War II, they did some in Italy. And so I just, when you get this kind of gig, you kind of look for little set pieces in history from the period, and you think, well, what can I base a story around? So we're in El Alamein, basically, and I came across a little basically in the fight against Rommel, there was something called the they had to take the entire sort of British armored division in that area across the desert through the minefields, and it was called sort of the Devil's Garden because there was so many mines. And I kind of thought, well, Major Eazy would always turn up driving his Bentley, like, which makes sense. No, but let's just go with that, right? He would turn up. He would be this laconic, rebellious, smoking a cigar. He'd never got on with authority. He'd liked a good nap. All these things, which made kids love him and think, oh, he's the ultimate. And he looked like James Coburn as well.
100%. He's essentially, it's kind of, if you mix that James Coburn up with almost like with the oddball character from Kelly's Heroes, if you shake him kind of up like that, give him a lethal attitude.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's full of anachronisms. It's crazy. It doesn't really make any sense, right?
It doesn't. But I write little forward in the book about sort of like there's a pattern to all his stories where he would turn up and like he would have a mad plan. There would be some terrible threat to the poor British soldiers, and Major Eazy would have some mad plan, and someone would go, "What's he doing? He's insane!" And like he'd tell an officer to F off or something, but not words to that effect. And then lo and behold, Major Eazy's plan would prove to be the correct one, and then he'd go, then he'd smoke his cigar and everyone down. So we take him through the desert and through all these mines, and with him in his Bentley sort of at the head of the convoy, and I just thought that was a fun little set piece.
Lovely image.
And then, as I said, sort of Henry just did what absolute wonders with it, and Henry's colouring his own work these days, which is just taking it to another level. And it's Henry and I have worked a bunch together on Judge Dredd, and I think we work so well as a team. And so doing it in a little 12-page story was just absolute joy, to be honest.
Brilliant, mate. It must be an awesome return to childhood, if you will. I can imagine how great that felt. I'm looking forward to reading it with the same sense of excitement. And what about Death Squad?
Well, Death Squad's a similar one. I was in sort of the Enniskillen Comic Convention. It was a great little convention in Ireland last year, and a bunch of us were in the bar, and Garth went, "Do you want to do Death Squad?" to me and PJ. And we went, "Yeah, all right, fair enough." And then so what you do then, I read Battle as a kid. Like my mum would bring it home sometimes. I think I'd get 2000 AD, Roy of the Rovers, and occasionally, if I was good, I'd get Battle. So Battle has already got that little sort of treat feeling for me. You read a bunch of those stories, and Death Squad are effectively the Dirty Dozen, but just in they're the worst of the German soldiers on the Eastern Front who've been put in a punishment battalion. So they get the really suicide missions, basically. And they're a bunch of cutthroats, and there's one guy called Swede who carries an axe, and it's just there's one called Licker, who basically is short for bootlicker, who is the real genuine Nazi, and so all the other soldiers take a mick out of him constantly and try and do nasty things to him, because it's all right to be, it puts them one level above him being a Nazi. It's just kind of, it's like, I wrote the Suicide Squad for DC for years. It's effectively the Suicide Squad in World War II with a bunch of sort of lovable evil rogues, and again, like teaming up with PJ Holden on that, you just find a little sort of impossible suicide mission set piece on the Eastern Front, and off you go. I mean, the tough thing with writing Death Squad was the fact that it's a team book, so when you've only got 12 pages and you've got to give each of the characters a little bit of room, that's the only challenge. Apart from that, again, it's just you're going back to your inner child and just having a blast with it.
Absolutely wonderful. And both of those issues of Battle Action, the upcoming Battle Action, featuring Rob's Major Eazy story with Henry and his Death Squad story with PJ, can be ordered from the links attached to our conversation. I can't wait to read these, mate. This is pure joy for me to kick into this material.
I think it's got, the whole thing is like, I mean, the driving force behind it is Garth Ennis, and Garth loves, like no one on earth loves Battle as much as Garth does.
Right.
So the amount of passion that Garth has brought to it, he's absolutely bringing his A game to it, and some amazing collaborators. I mean, fingers crossed we can do more of it, because I think everyone just enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, wonderful. Fingers crossed. I hope so too. And thanks for coming on and talking about it, Rob. And best of luck with it. Lucky, don't you? Because I'm sure it's going to be great. And I will look forward to seeing you again soon, mate.
All right, thanks a lot, Andrew. All the best, mate. That's great.
If you're enjoying watching Forbidden Planet TV and you're enjoying watching us talk to the world's most interesting and accomplished filmmakers, authors, artists, musicians, creators, subscribe right here. See you soon.